Hey, hopefully you can hear me. How's it going? So we are here today for a Q&A, but there's a few specific questions that I want to answer, or at least dive into a little bit more, that I've received on YouTube. So let me just share my screen. So here, in particular, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can zoom in. This question here, and this was an interesting question. Okay, and the reason why I'm recording this is because there was then a follow-up to this question based, even though I answered. So the question was, can you do this practically? And now I read that as a question. Is this all practical? And my short answer was, yeah, absolutely. Of course it is. How do you find customers? How to find niches? Best way to show an offer to them? And what's the best approach or best way to approach them? Now, if you haven't seen this video, I recommend that you go and watch it, because I thought I did a pretty good job of trying to share with you information as to how you can answer all of these things. This follow-up comment is she's asking for practical and actual examples of how to do what it is that she's asking. So that's what I'm going to try and do today. Let me just put myself in the corner there. Cool. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Now, ultimately, the way that you answer most of these is by answering this one first. Okay. And this is the question that a lot of you get stuck on. What niche shall I go after? Now, previously, I would have said, it doesn't matter. Just, bloody sign up anyone that you can just to get the experience. But I get it. Like, it's become a lot more competitive. There's a lot more people in the space. So, you might want to start with a niche. And everyone that comes into my mentorship program, the Agency Alchemist, we have a whole lesson on, creating a niche. And I can't remember how long this lesson is actually, but it's a good 37 minutes, this lesson. So it goes into quite a lot of detail. And, we're covering what niching is. It's pure basics. What is niching? Pros and cons, how to craft your own niche, finding what niche works best for you, and then at what point do you go all in with your niche. So I think the best thing to do, and now you kind of get a little snippet here of the amount of detail that we kind of have within some of these lessons. And I get it, it's not all about knowledge these days. It's about having the opportunity to actually take action. You can find education and knowledge everywhere, but what this community is all about is community and being able to not only have that knowledge but go through the steps and the process with other people in the same position of you. But what I think we'll do is I'll share with you this document, this resource, so you can choose or start building out or defining your niche, shall I say. Excuse me. So let me go in here. Cool. So as I said, we're answering this question, which was left in the comments, can you do all of this practically? And in order to answer these, the best thing that you can really do is just find out, what niche are you going after? Because once you've defined your niche, you can start then to figure out who your ideal customers are, and what do they look like? And you can go down the route of building avatars and all of that sort of stuff. But let's start off with finding a niche. And it's essentially, there's multiple stages to this. And stage one is what I call the exploration stage. Okay, this actually just gives you the freedom to explore any niche that you like without being tied down. Okay, in the early stages of your business, and I've just said this, okay, you have the freedom to sign clients in any niche for any service that you are confident that you can deliver. Okay, that's a key point there. You need to be confident you can deliver whatever it is that you are offering to this niche. And you might be there, well, I don't know what I'm offering. At the very least, if you're watching this content and you follow me, you should probably be offering web design. Okay, that's all I talk about is web design. At the very least, yeah, sure, SEO and some ads and other things like that and maintenance you can offer, but at the very, very least, you should be offering website design. So it's a case of in the early stages, you're a web designer, you can build websites, find anybody that needs a website. So how do you do this practically? How would you find anyone? Do you know what? Honestly, there's many ways that you can do this, but I would go to social media, go to Facebook, go to Facebook, write a post saying you now offer web design and see if anyone bites. Go to LinkedIn, say that you offer web design, see if your connections bite. Offer it for free. Like, if you have never done this before, if you've never built a website, I'm all for you offering it for free in return for a testimonial or something, because it's all about what you can then later do down the line, and how much value that's going to bring to you aside from just receiving money. So early stages exploration. So how can you start to think about what, if you want to nail things down a little bit further, if you want a rough idea of who you should be going after in the early stages of your business within this exploration phase, figure out what you're passionate about. That would be my biggest tip, is what are you interested in? Because, who wants to be creating websites for something they're just not interested in? I know I certainly don't. And, in the early stages, you might not be being paid all that much. And so you got to enjoy the work. So find out what you're passionate about. And I've got here example, health and fitness. But if it was me, for example, what am I passionate about these days? Health and fitness. Yeah, kind of. I maybe used to be a little bit more. But I'm into, I enjoy gaming a bit. I like F1, or you could say sim racing or racing. I'm into that. Anything else? Anything you're interested in? Okay. And it's like, great. Could I be reaching out to that sit within those things that I'm interested in? I could be reaching out to gyms. Are there any gaming communities that I'm a part of? Are there any things around me that are racing orientated? Like, we have a sim racing center that's local these days. I could potentially reach out to them. So find out what you're passionate about. Other things that you can do is pick things that you're good at. You don't necessarily like all the things that you're good at, but what are you good at? Try and, are you good at cooking? Are you good at fitness? Are you good at engineering? Like, there's examples here within the sheet to kind of get your brain working. And then, list them out. What am I good at? Being a dad. I don't know. I'm not very good at cooking myself, but cycling, I'm pretty good at that. What else am I good at? Just looking around my room. Drawing, pretty good at drawing. Maths, not bad at maths. Well, that's maths. So, like, again, this is just an exercise to get your brain thinking. Okay, now here's the interesting part. Okay, you see, I maybe struggled with that. I haven't done this exercise in so long. But you can ask other people what they think you're good at. Okay, and this will make you think of things that or this will give you answers that you maybe hadn't thought of or wouldn't have thought of yourself. So yeah, there's a few options for you there. Ask friends, not family. If you can, ask past colleagues, ask connections. Maybe you've been to a networking event and you've formed a friendship with someone. Ask another professional individual. You can even ask people that you've met in a community that you formed a friendship with. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter. But at this stage, feel free to go after any business that falls within the answers that you've created. So, anything that's falling within these, you can go after those. Okay, that's going to give you hopefully some direction. So, we're answering the question, how to find ideal customers and how to find niches. Okay, this is what we're answering. So if you're early on in your journey and you don't know what you want to focus on in terms of the niche, because at this stage you might not want to go all in. I'm not saying, and I'm not suggesting at this point you go all in. There has to be a level of exploration if you are new to this. So this is what stage one is. Stage one is exploring, testing the water, because, for example, you might, like me, I might be really interested in racing, but I might find that I've got 3 racing oriented clients and I absolutely hate working with them. Okay. So we need to look at other opportunities. So the more that you can kind of pool here, the more flexibility and opportunity that you have in order to find a niche that's going to work for you. Stage two is focus. So once you've gone through this exercise, once you've worked with a collection of customers, and I'd maybe even go as far to say that you could have had not necessarily 10 customers where you've completed 10 projects. You could have had 10 conversations or 10 positive conversations that didn't, turn into a sale. It really doesn't. It does matter, but if you're at the stage where you do want to start narrowing down and you haven't worked with 10 businesses, there's ways that you can kind of fast track that process by just understanding the business or the niche that it is that you had spoken to. So what I say is get 10 to 10 projects under your belt. All right. And here's an exercise. Define what those are. And I did this recently because despite me having a loose niche, for me, I was more focused on service niching, like offering web design and SEO, and I serviced a variety of people. But what I did, I actually recently did this exercise and I used ChatGPT. Okay. So what you could do is write down the last 10 to 20 businesses that you've serviced, what sector they are within, and what it is that you did for them. Okay. Then what you could do is say, if you can't work it out yourself, if it's not obvious, you can go to ChatGPT and you can put all of the sectors into ChatGPT and ask it to tell you what your niche is. And we recently did that. I put in the last, 15 projects that I'd worked on, 5 most recent 15 projects that I'd worked on. And it told me that the majority of these sat within the home improvements sector. So I was like, okay, well, that is probably my niche right now. So what I've done off the back of that is I've worked on my website and I've changed some of the terminology. I've changed some of the images, language to speak to that niche. Okay. So hopefully that's helping you. Hopefully that's making sense. So stage 2 is focus. Once you've got your exploration, once you've explored, tested the waters with a variety of different niches, you can start to then focus down on, well, what are we getting the most projects for? What are we enjoying the most? Things like that. So the purpose of this is just to see whether you can spot any common sectors or services that you go, why does it keep doing that? Let's dismiss. So any common sectors or services that you can focus on, like for example, if you have 6 to 10 web design clients, all in different sectors, okay, you could consider niching down within industry, consider niching down as a service, so web design. Or if you've maybe 2 out of 10 aesthetic clinics and 1 dentist client, and then you could focus on medical. So it's just kind of giving you examples here. That's aesthetics, that's fitness. These are just 2 examples. But yeah, as I said, if you've got, just list them out. And if you can't spot, obviously, what niche that you think that you should start focusing on based on your previous projects, ask ChatGPT, like honestly. Cool. And then once you've done that, ask yourself these questions. Okay. And coming back to this question, and I'm pretty confident because I know this is a series of videos and I know it's in one of them about niching down. You can niche in a variety of ways. You can niche by industry. You can niche by service. And so you need to also make sure that your niche has money. It requires an online presence. It's desirable, and you enjoy working in this industry. So answering these 4 things. If you answer yes to all 4 of them, I'd say even if you answer yes to 3 of them, then you've probably got your niche. At this point, you could you can focus on that niche, I would say. So once you've gone through this exercise and you've started to realize, okay, based on the previous websites that we've built for each of these different sectors, find the common one that you seem to have serviced more of, and then ask yourself these questions. Does the industry have money to spend? So if we had multiple medical aesthetics clinics that we built websites for, even if we had 2 or 3 of them in a larger list of 10 to 20 businesses, we're going to ask ourselves, does it have money to spend? Yes, that industry does have money to spend. Okay, I can tell you that from experience. Do they require an online presence? Yes, absolutely. They want to be marketing their products, their services. They do require an online presence. Most people do, to be fair, these days. Do they have a desirable product or service? Yes, they offer Botox. They offer dermal fillers. Okay, they have a desirable product or service. Do you enjoy working with this industry? Now, personally, if it was talking about this specifically, I have serviced medical aesthetics. I think I've got 3 clients within my portfolio. I don't dislike working with them. Am I interested in the industry? Kind of. But I would say I'd probably still say it's a yes. I don't not enjoy working with them, so I'd probably go as far to say yes, I enjoy working with them. So if I answered yes to all of those, and I had like 3 medical aesthetics clinics within this list, I'd probably say I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on that industry. Okay. Now that alone should, I'm just checking the chat. So that alone should answer that question. Okay, how do you find your niche? Well, we've just done it. Okay, we've pretty much just done it, but we can go into further. We can dive into this a little bit further. All right, and this will then start to answer this question, and not so much these. So how to find your ideal customers? Well, the best way to find your ideal customer is to really understand them. Like, you really have to start to understand your ideal customer. And the reason why we do this step within, once you've decided that you're going to start focusing on an individual niche, is because if you are in the exploration phase where things are super broad and you're kind of testing the water with multiple different niches, it would just be a wasted exercise. So once you've identified one that you can kind of focus more on, then there's a bunch of questions here for you to ask. Start to understand your market as best as you possibly can. Understand the language, the buzzwords, their top 5 competitors. Is there a predefined bias to the way that they make decisions? What are their buying habits? What encourages them or drives them to buy? And again, just switching back to here, there's a whole lesson here on why people buy what you're selling. Okay, this is the Agency Alchemist. If you haven't seen it already, this is just module 2 out of 5, and there's a ton of lessons in here. But what we're doing here is what factors cause a person to buy, and how can you leverage these factors to acquire more clients? Okay, so it goes into more of the psychology side of things. So this, answering these kind of questions, it's going to help you do that. It's going to really help you understand your niche, because you need to be an expert. You need to understand your niche as a person, and you need to understand how your niche helps their customers. Okay, so there's loads of questions here that you need to be asking in order to do that. So what do they desire? What keeps them up at night? Like, these are really important questions, because when people buy what it is that you're selling because they are in pain. So you need to understand their pain, right? And so what are their frustrations? What are they afraid of? Are they afraid of failing? Are they afraid of success? Are they afraid of disappointing people? And start to understand those things. What keeps them awake at night? Is it a case of they're struggling to pay bills? If it's in the aesthetic clinic, again, as an example, do they have a premises that they need to continue renting? Do they have members of staff? Do they need to, buy product that they're struggling to pay for each month? What is it? What real dark, painful problem is keeping them awake at night? What do they desire? What is it about your service that matters to this person? Okay, it's a really important question that you need to be able to answer. I'm not here. I can't, in this live today, I can't give you the answers to all of these questions, because you have to figure this out yourself. I don't know what your niche is, but you've got the questions here to be able to go away and do this. So yeah, that's that. And then final stage. Oh, let me just review this. So yeah, there we go. Like, I've summarized this here. These are hard questions to answer. Like, you can only actually get so far by Googling these questions and trying to figure out the answers. So the best way that you can work this out is have conversations. Have sales conversations with people within your niche, or even don't have sales conversations. Cold call them and just ask them a couple of questions. Tell them that you're interested in the industry and would they mind answering a couple of questions. You're physically not selling them anything. So it's not necessarily a cold sales call, but it's kind of market research. So feel free to do that as well. And then stage 3, the final stage is all in. Okay, and this kind of just is at the point in which you've done stage 1 and you've done stage 2 and you're ready to go all in with your niche. Okay, you've fully focused on that. But you might find that you spend a long time around this area. Okay, if you've decided that you're going to focus on something and all of your messaging and targeting is tailored towards that one individual niche, then there's no reason why you can't acquire businesses outside that niche. So that's essentially it. So I'm being asked practically, how do you find your niche? That is how you do it. That is how you find your niche. Okay, and if we, as an example, have decided that medical aesthetics is our niche that we're going to go after, we're going to tailor all of our messaging into, we're going to change our website to focus on that. Next, how do we find our ideal customers? Well, we need to understand where they're hanging out. Where would aesthetics doctors be hanging out? I know from experience 2 places. One's going to be LinkedIn, 2 is going to be Instagram. Aesthetics is very visual. It's going to be Instagram. So bear with. So a couple people in chat. Mbenisi, how's it going, bro? Good to see you back. I hope all is well. So you're passionate about creating a website and graphic design. Nice. WebRiser, hi brother. Hey man, I hope you're doing well. If you guys have got any questions while I'm talking through this, then feel free to pop them in the chat. Right, I'm here to answer questions too, but at the moment, I am focusing on this question here. So we've done niching. That is the first thing that I needed to be able to answer. We've got this whole document here that's been able to do that. And this has been taken directly from the Agency Alchemist program. All right, we've gone into, this is like a 40-minute video. It goes into huge lengths as to how you can decide and define your niche. I've shared with you the resource here so you can go away and do it yourself. So if you haven't watched it, you can watch this on the playback for sure. But let's say medical aesthetics is our ideal customer. How to find ideal customers. So, if I go to Instagram, okay, search. And we will just go aesthetics. Okay, and again, this really comes down to how well you know your niche. Okay, what I do is find a hashtag within aesthetics, and I'll be honest, I've actually acquired customers using this approach. Maybe we search again and we search, no bugger, we search for Botox or dermal fillers. Okay, these are keywords that I know sit within this niche of medical aesthetics because I've serviced them before. But you would need to know the answers to this. Understand what it is that your niche, now that you know your niche, understand what it is that your niche will be using as hashtags. So the best thing you can do is, if I was to search for aesthetics near me. So let's go aesthetics doctor near me. Okay, skin, Southwest, Botox. Okay, cool. What you need to do, go to treatments. What do they offer? Why isn't that loading? Come on. I seem to have a problem with my drop downs at the moment. Can you tell me what they offer? Cool. MediPeels, anti-wrinkle injection, dermal fillers. Cool. So then we're going to go to Instagram. We're looking for dermal fillers. Great. Cool. And now we've got a bunch of posts with dermal fillers. So we could look at this one. Now, the next step I would probably do is look at what other hashtags that they are using. It's maybe not the best example. Cool. So you can see a bunch of other examples here. So we've got like nurse injector, non-surgical facelift. So you can make a note of these keywords, or hashtags. I lost my word there. Make a note of these hashtags, and then you can come here at any point and say, right, cool. Here's a possible customer that we can reach out to. Follow them, message them. Boom. On to the next one. So that is, how do you find your ideal customers? Well, they're all there. Okay, they're there. And you can go as far to do some more research into the business, have a look at their feed, see whether they would suit your ideal, the ideal person that you want to be working with, and then reach out to them. Okay, it's a very manual process. You can do it fast, or you can spend some time and really kind of personalize your approach. So how to find niches, we've done. How to find your ideal customers, we've done. What is the best way to show an offer to them? So you have to be able to define your offer. And again, I'm going to come back to here, okay, because we have a whole lesson here right before niching is how do you craft your offer? Okay, and again, this video is just under 30 minutes long. Okay, and what this covers is what are offers, why having an offer is important, our offer framework to create your own irresistible offer, and how to construct your own offer. Okay, so best way to show them an offer is, first of all, sort your offer out. What is it you're offering? Now, if you understand your niche and you understand what keeps them up at night and what struggles they have and what pain points they're dealing with, whether you've done your own research, whether you've had conversations with business owners and you've asked them, why have you booked this call? Why are you here? Why are we having this conversation? Start to work out what they need help with, and you can start positioning your offer around that. So, if we were working with aesthetics clinics and they just wanted to have a stronger online presence because they're losing customers to a competitor, or people are not buying from them as much as they used to, or they're not getting enough bookings into their calendar, you can deliver them a solution. So that solution could be worded something like, I'm not going to write it on this document. Where could I write it? Well, I'll tell you what, I will write it, I'll delete it. But if they weren't getting appointments, you could offer them, or you could just say, because we're answering the question, best way to show an offer to them. So if your offer was a website that's designed to generate them more customers, then you would say, could you handle an extra 10 appointments this month? Cool. We're offering them appointments. Okay. We're not offering them a website. We're not saying, do you want a website? Because the answer will be no. Once you understand what it is that they desire, okay, once you understand, okay, and there's a question here, what do they desire? You offer them that. You have to be smart here. You have to tailor your services to tie into what it is that they desire. Okay, so in this example, medical aesthetics, often they're going to want appointments. They want to increase their appointments. They want to make more money. And a website is just a marketing mechanism. It's a tool to allow them to do that. And honestly, you could go a step further here and say, great, I can take care of your website. We can offer you more appointments because we are going to fix up your website. Your website's terrible. It needs to do X, Y, and Z, and currently it doesn't. But also, on top of that, we're going to give you a website that works well, but we're going to bring you traffic because you currently don't have anyone coming to your website. People can't find you. And once you start, once you understand this and you have this way of thinking, everything becomes a lot easier because you become what I call a problem solver. Okay, and there's a whole lesson. Here we go. There's a lesson here: fixing people's problems. Okay, becoming a problem solver. How do you actually use the service of web design to fix this problem. So hopefully that's answering that. Best way to show them an offer is to define your offer. Okay. And this example is they want more appointments. Once I've understood exactly what it is that my niche needs and what keeps them up at night, we build an offer around solving that problem. Okay, because we're problem solvers. So we've got, could you handle an extra 10 appointments this month? We would just copy that or cut it. Boom. Let's say that we're reaching out to people on Instagram. You'd find a business. I'm not going to follow these. And you would just message them. And do your research. Find out what the business owner's name is. Find out what it is that what do they do, what are they, what's their contact address if you need to. Find, just do your research, but ultimately you need to find out what their name is so you can address their first name. So yeah, you would just drop it in there. Boom. Could you handle an extra 10 appointments this month? Go. You say hi name. Wait for a response. Okay. Depending on how much time and effort you put into your outreach will depend on your success rate in your positive response rate. That was just me being really kind of quick and to the point. But do your research on the person, do your research on your niche. And then finally, what's the best way to show the offer to them? What's the best way to approach them? Okay, so let's look at that in a bit more detail. What's the best way to approach them? Where do they hang out? And it kind of these two, you need to find out where they hang out. So you need to understand your ideal customer, where they hang out. Depending on where they hang out will depend on the best way to approach them. And because everyone's niche is different. I've got an example here of aesthetic clinic or medical aesthetics. If I was trying to reach out to them, they're a doctor, they're probably busy. So I'd reach out to them. I'd find their personal profile on Instagram. I would find their personal profile maybe on LinkedIn. I'd call the studio, the clinic, and try and get hold of them. But depending on your niche will depend on how you can best approach them. And I do not have the answer for you because I don't know what niche you're in. So you have to. There's sometimes you want all the answers, and I can only give you so much on video and via YouTube. So that's something you're going to have to explore on your own, or be a part of a community where you can explore it together, or even further, click the QR code in the corner, undergo sign up to mentorship, and I can actually help you with all of this stuff. Okay, I can help you with the niche, and I can help you with how to best find your customers, what to offer to them, how to offer it to them, etc., etc. So there you go, both of you who has commented on this. Hopefully that answers your question. What's the time? Let me just check the questions. Right. All right, let's go. Questions. So let's check this one. I'm also a sport photographer for MMA, also boxing. So boxing in the evening with a lot of gyms are coming together for their fights, and I receive always the match list with the gym's names. And when I look at gym websites, there's a second part of this question. So when I look at gym websites, they're all looking really bad. So I think that's an opportunity. Yeah, I agree. That is an opportunity. There you go. What I would say though, on top of that, so it sounds like there is an opportunity there, but what I would say is make sure that you're really kind of tapping into what it is that they need. Like, do they even care that their website is bad? If they don't, you need to educate them on why it's bad to have a bad website. How are people judging them? How are people perceiving them? Are they struggling? Do they need more people coming to the gym? Do they want more exposure? All of these, depending on the niche and the pain, will depend on what it is that you can offer them. And that's the whole point of everything that I've just gone through here. Is everything differs depending on your niche, which is why you need to these days understand your niche and the pain points in order for you to kind of be more successful these days. What's this one? Hi, so can you review my SaaS agency website? It's still under construction, but can you review it, please? Yeah, what's it called? Yeah, sure. Let me have a look. Is it possible to make one website and use it for more gyms? What would you do? Yeah, you can make a template. I'm actually just because we're working with electricians at the moment. Got a couple of electrician customers, so I've built an electrician template, which I can now offer to electricians at a reduced cost because it's a copy and paste job. We just bring their content in. There's no custom design process. And so, yeah, you could make, I'd go as far to say you can make one, you can make two, you can make three, you can make four different templates for your industry. If you're going in all in on gyms, make 4 different gym websites, and you can say to them, I've got these 4 for you to choose from. Each of them work really well within your space. We've used them for X, Y, and Z gym down the road. We've found that they've got good results. So, you could use this template or you could choose one of the others. It's totally up to you. So that's certainly something you can do for sure. Any questions, guys? Pop them in the chat, please. So I've just gone through and answered a bunch of questions. There is a question here on pricing, which I might tap into in a second. Is it possible to make one website and use it for, so I've already read that one, my bad. So quickly, Dr. Distic, if you're still here, you won't be able to put your URL in, but if you just tell me what the business name is, I can try and Google it and find it. Or yeah, if that doesn't work, I don't know. And yeah, annoyingly, YouTube doesn't let you put URLs in. Cool. Right. So I'm going to be offering free consultation calls on my website, but what if a random person books? What should I say? I'm going to put the question on the calendar form, but still do not know what to say. So are you worried? You worried if somebody books a consultation call, but isn't the right fit? If they're a random person? Or yeah, but they're free consultation calls, so I guess anyone could book, but it will all be around the messaging on your website. Who are you talking to? What's your niche? If you haven't defined that already, then we've just gone through that. So watch this back. I'm going to put a question on the calendar form, but still don't know what to say. So if there is a specific type of person that you're wanting to work with, depending on your knowledge, you're going to be offering consultations. Who do you want to be offering consultations to? And you can just ask that question. You could use, if you're using Calendly, you could have a drop-down field that says, are you one of the following? And you could list out what the industry is if you're working with more than one, or you could just have a check field saying, are you, if you're working with, again, medical aesthetics, you could say, are you a doctor, a medical doctor or aesthetics doctor? And if they check it, then, this should be a right fit. If they're not, decline the call, cancel it. Like, you're in control. You have freedom to be able to do that. Or if you get on the call and you quickly decide that they're there for the wrong reasons, then just tell them. Tell them quickly so you don't waste your time. If that hasn't answered your question, oh, sorry, I can see that you've just answered it. So how should you structure the consultation call? Yeah, great question. Bear with me. So it's in sales calls. Cool. So here is the agency Alchemist. So there's a whole lesson on sales. So the sales are not selling part 1. Cool. Sales scripts. Right. Let's go. But I'm not going to dive too much into this. Okay, because it's for paying members. But the way that I like to structure this is small talk but discovery. Okay, I know you're busy. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to start by asking you a few questions. Okay, it's really that easy. You start asking them questions, set the scene. All right, this is going to be your key question. This is how you should open every call. Either use that line or use, a form of that line. Where's my mouse gone? There I am. And I do this in a variety of ways these days. So let me just zoom in so you can see that. So this is going to be your key opening line. So how do you structure this call? You just ask them, you took time out of your day to speak to me today. Why is this? Okay, why are they there? Let them speak. That is going to be your key to allowing the rest of the conversation to take place. Because if it's a consultation call, I call it discovery call. You want to know why you're there. You want to know what problems they are facing. And there's other questions that you can ask here, like tell me about your current website strategy. And they'll probably say, like, I don't have one. It's like, great. Well, you probably should. Okay. And then you can start to make them feel bad about why they haven't got a website strategy. What is their process for taking a stranger and turning them into a customer? Do they have a process? If not, great, because you can give them one. Understand what's going well for them at the moment. Understand, what's not going well for them at the moment. Okay, all of these things. And so hopefully that's giving you an idea of how to best structure your calls. So yeah, consultation call, definitely start off by saying, why are they there? And that's going to allow you to kind of just start fault finding. But yeah, I use the word discovery call, and I just unpick. You can just dig, let them speak, and just keep asking why. Like, why is it important? Cool. So that's answered that. Perfect. All right, cool. What's this one? I'm thinking about making a website using photos from a match. Cool. How do you structure a website using Pixel or VH or maybe something else to make it also look good on different screens, like full width? Yeah, so I actually do this in a variety of ways. So I use view height if I want it to span the whole height of the screen. I'm trying to think of an example of where I've done this. I haven't even done it on my website. Basically, I use view height if I want it to be the entire height of the screen, but I'll do like a minimum height of view height. So if it does spill over it can do. And also add padding. I add padding to the top and the bottom. Otherwise, when you get to like smaller devices, things get really squashed, and you don't want that to happen. And it kind of like hugs the top. So your top content will hug the top of the page, and the bottom content will hug the bottom of the page, and it just looks naff. So that's how I handle that. And I'm talking like it will hug the top and the bottom when there is like when you switch into mobile devices. So yeah, I actually never use pixels these days. I use rems, and I use view height if I want it to span the whole height of the screen. So yeah, hopefully that answers that. Cool. Any other questions? There was a question. Sorry, just checking my watch there. There was a question on here. So any questions, pop them in the chat. So there's a question here, which I think I'm probably going to answer in a whole different live, because I feel like this could be like a lot of you want information on pricing. So maybe I'll come back on tomorrow and do that. But yeah, this guy's problem. I have a question. I find it difficult in pricing per page, especially CMS powered blog pages, like main blog page and 7 template pages per page is $30. My page is $30. How should I charge for CMS powered pages, please? Blah. A lot of information there. So I think I'm going to answer that. On another live, probably tomorrow. But yeah, we've dove into a lot today. So anyone that's new here, obviously, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. But what we've covered today is niching. I had a question on here, and I'll post the link once this is live. But the question was around how do you practically, just define your niche? How do you practically reach out to your ideal customer? What's the best way to show an offer to them? And as I've said, like, we've answered all of that, but there's only so much information that I can kind of share and hand holding that I can do on a live setting and answering your questions. So this is why I recommend takes a look at Alchemist. Have a look, because it's not just a course. Sure, there's education and there's knowledge in there, but actually it's more than that. It's how can I drag you through the process so you can actually go from no longer struggling to having the web design business that you do want. This is an accumulation of all of the problems that I had when I first got started. Whether it's niching, whether it's how do I even know who I'm working with, what can I offer them, what value can I bring to them, what do I say on a sales call or a discovery call or a consultation call. All of that information is in there. So I definitely recommend that you go and check it out. But yeah, any final questions before I go? I've been in for 47 minutes. We've covered a lot. So if you haven't watched this already, I do recommend you go onto the replay, because this was a lesson all around niching, and we went into like real depth. I've shared kind of behind the scenes assets with you from the Agency Alchemist program. So make sure you watch this back. And yeah, no more questions have come in. So yeah, I'll leave it there. WebRiser and 1%. Oh, and percent. Do I ever use percent? No, I don't think I do, because I struggle with things being like fluid on multiple different devices. Like if you were to set an image within a container at a percentage, and then that container expands, and so does the image, it annoys me. So I design from desktop down to mobile. It's the way that I've always done it, and it still works for me. Some of you might be designing from mobile up to desktop. It doesn't really matter. The workflow is the workflow. That is just my workflow. But I tend to have like certain things fixed width as pixels, and then when they reach the constraints of the screen, when the screens are smaller, so I just saw your next question coming. So when the screens are smaller, then it will condense anyway. So some also use percent. Why you not recommend it? So it's not necessarily that I don't recommend it. I just don't like working with it myself. For that reason, I much prefer width of things to be in pixels. I never really define the height of things unless it's a container. I use padding to decide the height of the container based on how much content is within that container. And I just let everything kind of stay fluid in that respect. If I'm trying to work out where I'd use percentage, a container might be 100% width, but that's about it. Otherwise, as I said, you could have an image inside a container that's halfway across the page, and that could be 100% inside. But then what happens when that container goes much wider and the content inside is also a percentage, and that also goes wider? I just don't use it. I use the element. What are they called? My brain's escaped me. The attributes, the measuring sizing that I use is rems. I use rems for my containers. I use ems for line heights, pixels for image sizing, and I use rems for font sizing. So that's pretty much what I do these days. I don't personally use percentages. I'm not saying it's wrong, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't use it. I just don't use it for those reasons, because I'm more comfortable working with others. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Thanks so much, guys, for being here. I appreciate you as always. I'll be back tomorrow because I want to answer the pricing, the question around pricing. So we'll dive into that, and if you've got any questions in the meantime, pop in tomorrow and have a look. And yeah, go check out the Agency Alchemist if you want access to me. If you want me to really help you with growing your web design business, then I'm able to do that within that environment. So if you haven't checked it out, there is a link in the description. And then finally, just to give you a quick overview of it, this is we've recently moved over to school. Here we go. Let me just delete that. So we've got 51 new members in here. We've got a Q&A opening happening in 10 days. And yeah, there's loads of really good stuff in here. So we've got a question here on pricing services, design tools. We've got newcomers. We've got small, people winning using personal branding. There's, loads of really cool stuff in here. But what you'll get is you will get me helping you with all of the process. Sure, there's a classroom that gives you all of the content that you need, whether it's the foundations, launching the business, being better at sales, web design framework, scaling, etc., office hours, live calls, any new stuff. All of this stuff is here and it's great, but actually what you do get is me helping you along the way, like physically hand holding you if I need to, because I want you to succeed. So that's what's really good about it. You can either do it with me or you can do it with the community. Okay, they're there. I'm here to keep you accountable. So if that sounds good to you, then click the barcode at the top. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'm trying to escape, and another question's coming. I built gym website with your gym tutorial and was actually my first paid client. Cool. So you got your first paying client. I'm not sure what you mean specifically, but it sounds like you've managed to learn how to build a website using the template and you got a first paying client. If that's the case, awesome. Well done. That's great. Also, Clamp. No, I only recently, I only discovered Clamp like 6 months ago, I think. I haven't been using it. I use Elementor, so I just design, I put the 3 different measurements in. It's certainly worth looking into. It's not in my own workflow right now, but I know that it's in my my developer's workflow. So I think he's using Clamp. But for me at the moment, I have not spent too much time on it because I'm more working on the operational side of things. I still do the design for some of the projects, which I enjoy, but I don't build them anymore. I hand that process off. So I haven't used Clamp myself. But yeah, it was 53 minutes, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Watch this back if you've not caught it live. We've covered all about niching, and there's a actionable document for you to go through if you are stuck with trying to decide and what to say to them and what to offer them, etc. But yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, where we're going to go over pricing.